Picture this. It's South Africa in 1974, the height of apartheid. A factory clerk and an affluent, educated suburban man fall in love. Her skin is brown, he is white. The story of their unlikely union and the dangers they faced unfolds in Jennifer's book, An Immoral Proposal, Forbidden Love Under Apartheid. Jennifer and Michael Graham, welcome to Context.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm still so relieved that your marriage made it through the incredible drama of being, like, it was illegal for the two of you to be in a relationship. Jennifer, what was that act, the law called in South Africa?
The Immorality Act.
Describe your life of falling in love underneath the Immorality Act.
When I was a child, I would see headlines in the newspaper, white man found with colored girl or black girl, and there would be an arrest and that sort of stuff.
It was shocking scandal.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Michael, you're from the highest echelons of South African life. Your family were business owners of a large firm, and you fall in love with a factory clerk who is not from your race, your class. How did that happen?
I guess, I don't know how it is today, but in my day, there was chemistry. And chemistry happened even outside the classroom. And when I saw her, there was something about her that was very appealing. And although, you know, my mind told me that this was under South African rule all wrong, there was another voice that said, but why is it wrong?
You, Jennifer, were the daughter of a Pentecostal minister. And yet you were part of a church that was actually implicit in keeping the ladder down on people. Explain why the church was not helpful to you growing up.
I think because in the non-white, and I don't really like to use the term colored, so I'll use mixed race, in the mixed race community, because of lack of education, the church went strictly by the Bible. Everything was very black and white, and when the Apostle Paul says to submit to authority, they took that very literally, and always we grew up in understanding that material things, physical things, didn't matter. Our material life didn't matter, but it was the spiritual life that was more important, and that we should, you know, just endure our suffering, because our reward would be in heaven. So that was the attitude that.
Michael, you stepped into that, and your proposal, Jennifer calls it the immoral proposal. How radical did it have to be for the safety of your relationship? What did you do to make this thing work?
In terms of making the actual overture, it was under a concrete overpass, because and it was in my car, because we couldn't be seen in public together.
We always had to meet in secret.
We always had to meet. The relationship was clandestine.
Yes, and it's too steamy to share about how you would meet in your parents' home when they were gone. But okay, but let's just stick to the underpass right now in the car. That was part of it too. And it was more than just a marriage proposal. What kind of proposal did this have to be?
Well, it was a proposal which meant that to fulfill it, we had to leave the country. That was the essence. And the question was, you know, I thought, you know, was it reasonable for me to ask her to leave family and all her roots, etc., and go away, and with the knowledge that once we crossed the Rubicon, as it were, we couldn't go back. It was, you know, it wasn't a case of, oh well, we don't kind of like it here, wherever it was we were going, we'll just go back. It was if we were going to fulfill our desires, it was a one-way ticket at that stage.
And you took that one-way ticket away from culture, away from church, away from your jobs. You know, there are sometimes structures we build in our life that really have nothing to do with God's love for us, but they have a lot to do with tradition. Mm-hmm. What did you learn about God's love for your life in taking that great risk?
From my standpoint, when we left the country and Jennifer and I got married, I was in a situation where I had a head knowledge. I didn't have a heart knowledge of God. It was subsequently, actually, in this country. We went to England for 6 years. We came to Canada in the 7th year from leaving. And it was very shortly after that that I met God. So that the Lord had His hand upon us, certainly for the first few years, and He's had it going all ever since. But it was only after about 7 years that I came to a personal relationship with Christ.
And Jennifer, what did you learn in that journey?
Well, I was young, and so I was 19, so I had this sort of simplistic faith and prayed, God, please make a way for us, and God did, and it's been an incredible journey when we look back, or when I look back.
Well, you've written it all in an Immoral proposal. Michael and Jennifer, we're so glad you've made 37 years of this love story and of showing us what it takes, the courage to break an immoral situation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, stay tuned for my answer to the critics of bringing prayer into racial reconciliation. Thank you. That was beautiful. Early into Nelson Mandela's history-making presidency, there were challenges to his justice plan. Some in the North American press criticized it, and Bishop Desmond Tutu, who had been charged to create South Africa's Truth and Reconciliation Commission. The critics said that justice plan, one of listening and reconciling, was too much about forgiveness and not enough about punishment. Bishop Tutu replied, that may work in North America where you have justice systems, lawyers, and prisons to handle all your sin. Here, we need the spiritual promise. Some wounds demand spiritual healing. A few years later, Canada's Truth and Reconciliation Commission was created to heal the great wounds our First Nations received through the residential school program, a program that was designed to take the Indian out of the child. I think it is time to apply the Mandela and Tutu legacy to Canada's current Truth and Reconciliation process. We have one, this practice of listening and reconciling our racial wounds, but we don't talk about it enough, nor do we pray about it enough. Let's apply those lessons from South Africa to begin healing our own racial wounds here in Canada. For all of us, I'm Lorna Duick. Thanks for watching, and join us next week as we look at life beyond the headlines.